Hey YouTube, I just want to start off this video by wishing everyone a happy 2023, or even though it's a bit late, I hope you guys had a wonderful 2022. So now the off season's basically finished. If it's not finished already, it's going to be finished by the end of January, depending on when you're competing and when you start your off season. Now, this is a very critical period because if you're doing indoors, you're literally like, it's either going to happen this month or next month. And if you're doing outdoors, well, I mean, you're getting so close that it's kind of like, okay, let me just start working. And it's really, really, really important that you understand that in your off season, you had so much time and you're so far away from races. So you're really, really able to just fatigue your body as long as you put sprinting first and just go extremely heavy in everything in the gym. Um, Maybe you did a crazy amount of volume when you was sprinting, depends. Like if you went from um distance, if your season is gonna be from distance to short distance instead of short distance to long distance, I can kind of understand that. But I personally believe in the short distance to longer distance um frame of work. If you don't know what I'm talking about, well, there's two different ways to train throughout the entire season. The first one would be training from with your aerobic base, so doing a high volume sub maximally. Then as you get closer to season, you decrease the distance to closer to your actual event and below it. So if you're doing 400, you'd actually go way below 400. And if you're doing 200 and 100, it's the same thing here. I'm not gonna get talk about which one's better or not. I prefer the shorter distance to longer distance, and you cap out at your actual event, or maybe slightly above it, like 50 meters. But the main thing is, in your off season, you could do as much volume as you wanted, essentially. But now you're in your preseason. That doesn't run anymore. You can't do that anymore because as much as you've done in your head, you're kind of sweating, because you're aware you're coming really, really close to starting to actually race. And the reason I even did this video was because I was thinking in my head, we're really, really close now because my first race is next month. So just like everyone else, I want to increase the volume, do a lot of work, but it doesn't work that way. Sprinting doesn't work that way. It's very taxing on your central nervous system because that's what's used to help you move fast. And central nervous system recovers slowly, and the central nervous system, like most things in this world, value quality, not quantity. If you focus on quality, you'll improve much more than if you just focus on quantity. If you give your central nervous system a high amount of quantity, like for example, let's say you do 60-meter repeats, you do four. The first one's bad, the second one's bad, third one's really, really fast, but the fourth one's bad. Your central nervous system won't look at the bad ones and the good one and be like, okay, this good one's definitely what he wanted me to learn. No, 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 no. It will look at the average and be like, okay, let me just funnel out the average and see what he says. And if you keep saying slow one, really fast one, slow one, then it's just going to keep giving you the average. And it might even just give you a slow one and just make you really, really slow. And which could end up resulting in you peaking early. It's very, very bad if you peak early because if you're planning on competing indoors and outdoors, well, you kind of got a problem. And if you're planning on only competing outdoors and you peak early, you might accidentally peak in training, which is, you don't want that to have. I don't wish that on my worst enemy. So I don't wish that on you guys either. So it's very important that we understand that off season is off season, preseason is preseason. So now it's time to decrease the volume and focus more on quality. I mean, you should already be focusing on quality, a bit of quantity, but now remove that quantity and only focus on quality, because this is that time where everything you did in off season is going to slowly start to pay off. And if you start focusing on quantity, your off season technically hasn't ended and your off season can't pay off. Now, how much should you decrease the volume by? I won't give you numbers because everyone trains differently. But if you're planning to compete this year, the way to do it, in my opinion, it would be to chase this uncomfortable feeling. You'll know it when you feed it. So you'll do, let's say you try to decrease the volume, you decrease it drastically as you should. So you focus on only quality because it's much better to do two fast 60 meters, or maybe even just one fast 60 meter, than three slow ones. And you've decreased the volume so low to the point where you're just like, is that it? And then you go home and you're just feeling like, I want to do more work. That's good. So when that happens, your body's gonna have to start thinking about what it just did. And if you was performing as well as we'd hope you would, then your brain subconsciously is gonna start listening to your central nervous system, gonna try and make you faster, and then you're gonna come back and be faster. And that's just like the internal subconscious happenings of your body. Now let's think of the conscious happenings. Now, because your reps have decreased to such a drastic level that you don't really have much time actual sprinting. Most of your time spent stretching, mobilizing, warming up, and all of that. So now to you, every rep you do matters that much more. So you're gonna actually have more time to rest because you've got a longer period to train for, and you're actually going to be more intentional with your reps, because that's the way to try and increase the quality way beyond what you've already been doing, to try and be more intentional with every single step you do. Because the more intentional you are with every single step, the more you focus on ticking off all of those checklists that you're supposed to tick off when you're sprinting, your body will be able to adapt and you'll be able to get faster and faster and faster. So you'll actually see the hard work you did in off season pay off so well, to the point where it's kind of like when you peak, you're not even sure if you've peaked because you might still be able to go faster. And to be honest, if you do this well, I wouldn't be surprised if you did, because your body really does not respond well to quantity. And this doesn't just this isn't just in the aspect of sprinting, but when you're in the gym working out as well. In the off season, you can do as much volume as you wanted. Now, not so much. And if you're doing heavy lifts, drop those heavy lifts basically. Just as you get further and further into preseason, just decrease the days. Like, for example, if you train 5 days a week in the gym and you did 5 heavy days, decrease it to 3 and then 2. And maybe you can hold it at 2 for the rest of the preseason, but when you get to in season, decrease that to just 1, for example. But in season talk is a different video. And now that you've decreased the heavy days, what's important isn't just the heavy exercises you do, decreasing those, but almost completely eliminating them. Because now in the gym, if you look at the force production curve for like sprinting 100 meters, you'd see that heavy lifts correspond really well to the start of your race. But as you get further into the race, this dynamic switches. Middle of the race is all about more explosive stuff like Olympic lifts, so clean and jerks, snatches, and then at the end of the race is plyometrics. You want to switch your thoughts and focuses in the gym to accommodate your season. You might want to think of it like this. In the off season, you focus on heavy lifts. In the preseason, you focus on Olympic lifts, and then in the in season, when you're actually in your season, you focus on plyometrics. Not to say you shouldn't be doing plyometrics anyway, because they take so long. Your tendons take so long to adapt, but you get the point. Different things correspond to different parts of your race, and your off seasons where you built up your base and now you're moving into your actual season. I don't care whether you're sprinting 60, 100, or 200 or 400. You need to start drifting away from just pure training and now to pure sprinting, and slowly have your training plan accommodate that. So the main point of this video is just trying to get across to decrease the volume, because in the gym you should also decrease the volume to an almost uncomfortable level. And if you train 5 days a week in the gym, don't make every single day in the gym Olympic weightlifting, because whilst you have so little time on attention and it's very explosive, and as you get closer to your season, you want to be more explosive, it's still, depending on how good you are, it's still quite taxing, and you want to make sure that you have enough recovery to sprint. So just decrease the volume there until it's uncomfortable, just like I was sprinting, and make sure that you don't spend every day in the gym just doing Olympic weightlifting, and try and make your time in the gym as explosive as possible. So try and do more explosive exercises. And when you're doing those heavy lifts, you can still do heavy lifts, well, not heavy lifts, but the heavy exercises like squats and deadlifts, but make them more explosive too. So for example, let's say you could do at max 100 kg squat, and that was like RP 10. Now just decrease that to maybe 50 kg and try and, so if you was doing 4 reps, full range of motion, sorry, then instead of just doing full range of motion exercises, then do half squats, do box squats, and then do quarter squats, and then just try and be as explosive as possible, because now you're trying to make it so that your body's like, okay, fast, 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 fast. You kind of want to be like you have jitters, you know? You want to kind of have like jitters when you're doing all of this, because you just want it to be that quick. You want to be just that fast when you're doing everything. Still do full range of motion, obviously, and certain exercises you can't not do full range of motion in, but make sure that you just value trying to do exercises in ways that actually make you a faster athlete, and also don't fatigue you from your sport, which is sprinting. If you want to be good at sprinting, the gym's great and all, but to get better at anything, you have to do that thing. If you're spending more times in the gym than you are sprinting, which, because you don't really have much volume when you're sprinting, kind of understandable. But if it's a crazy difference, that's probably a problem. You might want to fix that. Also, for plyometrics, I don't want people to take away from this that, okay, plyometrics is like the main focus, like this is the bulk of my race, I need to really do a lot of plyometrics, because plyometrics are extremely taxing on the body. I'm probably going to make a whole video on plyometrics at some point, but make sure you stay within the touch range, which is every single time you touch the ground, that is valid for you, that your body can handle and still adapt with, because plyometrics are the epitome of I like quality. If you was to only do 5 plyometrics, trust me, you do them so well that the extra, like what, 20, 30, 40, 50 plyometrics you normally do afterwards will render in, because plyometrics follow your CNS. And like I said, with 60 meters, if you do 3 bad 60 meters and 1 good 60 meter, your body's just going to take the average and give that to you. So plyometrics is the same thing. Make sure your plyometrics are extremely explosive now. Try and really be explosive. I made a video previously that addressed how to touch the ground when you're sprinting with your ankle range of motion. If I've tried and tested by myself, don't know about other people. I know elite athletes do it, but when you do plyometrics, don't just land dorsiflexed. Actually incorporate the things that I showed in that other video into your plyometric training, and not only will you get more height, but you'll get more distance, and everything will just be more better for you. And just to sum this up, this is the video. Just make sure you focus on decreasing the volume as you're coming into your preseason, because you don't want to accidentally peak and you don't want to accidentally be too fatigued so you can't perform. And yeah, that's the video.